You're walking through your living room, completely absorbed in a problem, and suddenly you realize you're speaking out loud to an empty space. Maybe you caught yourself narrating your next move, arguing a point, or whispering a gentle reminder to stay focused. Then comes that brief, uncomfortable pause where you wonder if you're slowly losing your grip on reality. Society has conditioned us to believe that talking to yourself is the first warning sign of a fracturing mind. We hide it, mute ourselves when someone walks in, and pretend we were just humming a song. But psychology reveals a truth that completely flips this shame on its head. You aren't breaking down. You're executing one of the most sophisticated cognitive strategies the human brain possesses.
What you are doing in those moments is a mechanism psychologists call external processing. Think of your working memory as a small, crowded desk covered in loose papers. When you keep every thought silent, your brain has to constantly move those papers around just to keep them visible.
The moment you speak a thought out loud, you lift it off the desk and hang it on the wall. It transitions from a slippery internal impulse into a concrete sensory output. Science actually confirms that people who vocalize their search for misplaced objects find them up to 50% faster. Your voice acts as an active targeting system, forcing your brain to visually and mentally align with the word you just spoke. You aren't rambling. You're creating order from internal chaos.
When you keep your thoughts silent, your brain operates inside a closed loop. But the instant you speak out loud, you trigger a massive neural symphony across multiple brain regions simultaneously. Your motor cortex commands your speech production, your auditory cortex processes the sound of your own voice, and your prefrontal cortex organizes the incoming information. You are effectively upgrading your mental bandwidth from dial-up speed to high-speed fiber optics.
Instead of letting an idea bounce endlessly off your subconscious walls, you force it through the brain's linguistic filter. Language requires structure, grammar, and sequential logic. By demanding that your thoughts take physical form as sound waves, you strip away emotional static and extract raw clarity. You aren't just thinking anymore. You are actively programming your own nervous system in real time.
I remember sitting at my desk late one night, surrounded by a mountain of unresolved decisions. My mind was spinning so fast that every single option felt equally overwhelming, loud, and impossible to sort through. I was completely paralyzed, staring at a blank screen while my pulse raced over nothing. Without thinking, I leaned back, took a breath, and said out loud to the quiet room, "Okay, what is the single most important thing right now?" The moment those words hit the air, something in my chest instantly settled. Hearing my own steady voice broke the mental feedback loop that was drowning me. It wasn't magic, and it wasn't a breakdown. It was an instinctive release valve.
When you speak to yourself out loud, something remarkable happens in your cognitive architecture. It creates a phenomenon known as psychological distancing. When an emotion or problem stays trapped inside your head, you are immersed in it. You are the drowning swimmer fighting the current. But when you vocalize the situation, especially using your own name or second-person pronouns like you, your perspective instantly shifts. You step out of the water and onto the lifeguard tower.
Studies show that people who use self-talk during high-stress situations experience lower cardiovascular reactivity and make significantly more rational decisions. You effectively split your consciousness into two roles. You transition from the overwhelmed participant into the objective, grounded coach who can actually solve the problem. Now, before you declare yourself an absolute mental mastermind, we need to pump the brakes for a second. Because there's an uncomfortable line we have to draw. Are you using self-talk as an active tool to build clarity? Or are you using it as a shield against uncomfortable feelings? There's a vast difference between vocalizing a solution and compulsively repeating worries aloud just to soothe a racing pulse. One is an act of intentional focus that moves you forward. The other is rumination wearing a microphone, keeping you trapped in a loop of your own anxiety. If your voice brings you back to the present moment, it is serving you. If it keeps you pacing in circles, it might be time to stop talking and start listening to what that underlying tension is trying to tell you.
History's greatest minds were never silent thinkers. Albert Einstein walked the paths of Princeton muttering equations out loud, using his voice to keep up with an extraordinary mental processor. Nikola Tesla narrated his mechanical inventions into existence long before drawing them on paper.
Surgeons use audible self-talk during delicate procedures, and elite athletes talk themselves through critical movements under extreme pressure. They aren't crazy. They understand that the human voice is the ultimate bridge between confusion and absolute execution. So the next time someone catches you in a deep conversation with yourself, let them give you that strange look. They hear noise, but you are running a cognitive masterclass. Your voice isn't a sign of weakness. It's the tool that turns raw mental chaotic energy into effortless clarity. You can watch the rest of this ongoing series right now over on our channel. Click the next video on your screen to keep exploring.